Alright guys, it's Rabea from Chapman Guitars. Hope you're all well, and welcome to the Chapman Guitars YouTube channel, home of all things guitar related, Chapman Guitars related, tuition, riffage, just generally all sorts of cool stuff. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. There's a little bell next to the subscribe button there. We'll give you notifications every time we upload something new. So in this video, I wanted to show you 3 cool things that you can do with the drop D tuning. For all those that don't know what drop D is, because there will be some out there that don't, it's essentially where you tune down the low E string a whole tone so that it's perfectly in tune in an octave between the D string and the low E string, like this. The reason we do that is because the A string and the 2 D strings then create a really cool power chord sound, like this. And of course, as you could see there, I was using one finger to bar the fret to create a power chord. So in a nutshell, what I'm doing there by tuning one string down a whole tone is giving myself a hell of an easier job when it comes to playing power chords, like this. So I'm not saying for everyone to use just your index finger and move up and down the guitar, but it proved my point that essentially it just helps get out the ideas that you've got in your head. You know, if you're a songwriter and you're not particularly technically gifted on the guitar just yet, I'd recommend going down to drop D just so that you can get your ideas out, because it's way easier and it's a lot more fun. But again, I'm not telling you how to play guitar or what to play on guitar, it's just I'm giving you options. And that's my first cool thing you can do with the drop D tuning. So my second drop D tip that I think is awesome is using the bar, or is it your index finger, as a nut moving up and down the guitar, much like we do with your power chords and bar chords. So for example, if I play an A major power chord, now because you're in drop D, the low E string's been tuned down a whole tone. So if I was to play a bar chord, on 5th fret like this, horrible. So we have to change the shape of our bar chord. So rather than it looking like this, and what we're doing there is we're playing an E major shape. Hopefully you can see on the close-up cam. This is an E major shape here, and I'm barring it. In a nutshell, the bar is acting as the nut, and I'm moving it up and down the fretboard using the same shape to be able to play my bar chords. In drop D, that's not going to happen. We need to change the shape. So this is the new shape. Bar 5th fret, just for the sake of ease. So we've got Now I want you to take your ring finger, put it on the G string 7th fret, and your little finger, place it on the B string 8th fret. So you've got this. So all you guys out there with an eagle eye will have noticed what I was doing was barring a D sus2 shape, but I'm moving it up and down the guitar. Sus2 is where you play your standard D major shape, you take your middle finger out, and there you've got D sus2. So what I'm doing now is barring with my index finger and playing that sus2 shape anywhere on the neck, and I've got a huge, wide, powerful sounding chord. I use these chords all the time. I find them really handy. And if you want to go one further, make it a little bit more tricky for yourself, you can actually try and voice that major note in the D major or the minor note. It's up to you. So this is our sus2 shape. Now let's throw in that major note. That's quite difficult, especially if you're moving around the fretboard a lot. So as you can see, it looked quite tricky. It's a bit of a finger twister because you're playing two notes on the same fret underneath each other, and that's not the nicest thing to do. However, if you throw it in there now and again, it does add to the effect and it sounds great. Alternatively, you can do a minor version. So again, if we're barring on the 5th fret, you've got your ring finger on G string 7th, little finger on B string 8th, and I want you to take your middle finger and place it on the 6th fret, top E string, like this. Again, it's just another cool way of spreading the notes apart to create a wider sound. I do this a lot, particularly in Tosca, because I'm a one guitar in a band and you need to have that width. So I would recommend trying that out for yourself. That would be cool tip number 2. So my last cool tip for drop D tunings, for all those out there who are a fan of metalcore, that kind of stuff, and you want to get into that style, this should help you. So of course, we're still in a drop D tuning. We're going to use our index finger, just our index finger, and we're using the A string. And what I'm going to do is move up and down the fretboard in the key of D minor, like this. At this point you can start throwing in other notes to make it more of a natural minor sound. And at this point, for all those that are familiar with the metalcore genre, now you've got yourself a really cool way to get into learning and writing riffs like that. So as you could see there, I was throwing my index finger around the frets, trying to create a kind of metalcore sound, just to demonstrate how useful it is having that drop D tuning there, so that I'm not having to worry too much about other strings and other notes. That was all using 2 strings, some chugging, and just a general bit of fun. It's worth pointing out that a lot of beginners do tend to go to drop D tuning straight away if they're into rock and metal, just because it's a bit easier. I would recommend using both drop D and normal tunings so that you have experience in both, so you don't catch yourself out in times where you might need to use a normal tuning, for example. But those 3 tips I find quite useful, especially for beginners if you're playing drop D tunings. Hopefully it was helpful. Let me know in the comment section below. Please like, subscribe and share, and I will see you all very soon.